You're listening to The Hoop Journey, a podcast that looks to share the stories of basketball players from all journeys and walks of life. My name is Lucas Battisti, and I'm sitting down with other hoopers to talk about the lessons they learned, their journeys, and how their experiences on the hardwood taught them bigger life lessons off the court. So sit down and relax as we talk hoops and more. Yo, we're back for another episode of The Hoop Journey. I'm joined with one of my friends, Sean Mullan. You introduce yourself, Sean?
G'day everyone, Hey guys, how are you? Sean Mullan here, how you doing?
It's
silly to ask a question. I shouldn't end with a proposition, should I? Because no one can answer back. I apologise, but whatever, let's go. How you doing? Yeah, I'm sure they're fine.
But so Sean, do you want to give a little background of yourself before we get into it?
Hoops background, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Wollongong, the Illawarra. I kind of started my hoop journey. At the time, it felt pretty late. It felt like some friends were already playing well before me. I kind of got in when I was about 12. Right? So I was a soccer player and a boxer before that, played a bit of cricket. And then, started off in the Illawarra ranks, playing locally around here, which was pretty great. Had a bit of success there in 14 and 12s, kind of really got addicted really quick. Went through the New South Wales rep sides. I was fortunate enough to play for the Aussie team in juniors, under 20s. Went to University of Pennsylvania on a D1 scholarship, and then I played my last year down in Nova Southeastern University. And then, just been hooping since. Never went pro. Came back and had a couple of years in Waratah League, and life changed it up a bit, but back into it now. I'm really enjoying it.
Sounds good. I feel like as an Australian athlete myself going over, I feel like there's a lot of unknown to the aspect of going over to a different country and playing. Could you relate to that feeling yourself?
Definitely, especially on a couple of different levels, I guess. Firstly, some of the more confronting. Probably some of the obvious things first. Athleticism is a big change. Athleticism definitely goes up. Realising, I remember thinking that I was quite athletic when I was in Australia, and coming over there and being in a wider pool where basketball is such a way of life over there. And the athleticism pool is so much better that you realise, respectively, you're kind of a bit lower in the pecking order when it comes to being on the one at the end of the alleys. You're probably the one throwing a bit more. Mentality too was tough. I found that regardless of how hard coaches were on your person in Australia, it was all about player development. Player development. You got to get better. Even the ones that were riding you got to get better. You got to work harder. You got to do your thing. And over in America, I remember being quite confronted with even coaches that I grew to really love and respect. Quite often, there's a mentality of there's 300 people that could play your position, and they all would bust their ass if they were here, and you almost feel disposable because there's maybe the same deal because there's such a big pool of athletes over there that kind of. And I remember thinking, I remember being a bit confronted by that and being like, oh well, that's an adjustment that I'm going to have to make mentally. And I think it came from a good place. I think the player development was there. Different people try to motivate you different ways. But I felt like it was a bit of a different mindset, different approach to effectively the same result.
Yeah, I know to your position in Australia, you're kind of like the man in a way, and going over to the States at D1 where you're walking as a freshman. How did that affect you too?
Oh man, I remember getting so caught up in the recruiting process, especially Penn. Penn was for all players that are going over there, be really conscious and really aware that during the recruiting phase, they put you in the mold of being the one that's going to change the program. We had a program, a really good historic program at Penn. It was, I think even to this day, it's got the most NCAA games ever played at a school, but it's not a really renowned program anymore, but it's a great historic program, and they're like, you're going to be the guy that changes this around. We love this about you. We love this about your game. We really see you working here, there, and everywhere. And I'm not sure. I don't think that they were lying, but their timeline was as a senior, as this, right, as a 4-year player, and they never let you aware of that. So I remember coming in and quite blatantly, an assistant coach that I hadn't engaged with on my thing, she's like, "Oh yeah, nah, freshmen don't play, period." And I was just like, "Fuck, excuse me?" Like, no, freshmen. And I ended up playing a little bit, but I just remember, like, freshmen don't play. Like, where was that? Where was that in my recruiting visit? Why was I not told that, I'll be looking at the bench of, and even I remember looking down the barrel of some pretty low shooting percentages of the captains of our team and just being like, oh, come on, like, if they're in a slump, get me in. Like, if it's just, stand and deliver that, that 6'6" skinny white dude from Australia that I could stand in a corner and catch and shoot if I needed to, but you weren't called upon. But it's all about, being prepared. So when your number is called upon, you can figure it out, or at least, rise to the opportunity. But definitely a smaller role that you want to be aware of before you get over there.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of comes into the sense of the politics behind it too. As in, you were promised a lot of things, you came over, and it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be like. Is that right? Almost like...
Yeah, you got to be aware. My situation would be very different. I was quite lucky to go through even the AOS, the Australian team that I mentioned. There were some boys there, Geordie Page, Mitch Young, Steindl and the like. There was like 7 Australians that went to St Mary's on the same year as I went to Penn.
Yeah.
And this interview conducted with them would be like wonderfully different. And where opportunity meets them, they had such a wonderful freshman year experience, and it was exciting to watch. And I was happy for them. And also, when you're in the trenches working really hard, you get a little bit envious, a little bit jealous of stuff like that. But you have to be pretty acutely aware of the possibility that there are 300 colleges and there's infinite amount of people with their own agenda going to it. You have to be prepared when you go over there to really be diligent and understanding, or have your own mindset about a program that works. But sometimes where the program's going and your intentions aren't aligned, and as much as you want to impose your will on a program, you can only prepare yourself so much and wait for opportunity to arrive. And if those two they don't cross-sect, if they're parallels, and you just got to keep on being prepared. And I think that's the same with anything. Yeah. There's musicians out there that are extremely well prepared, that with the best pub singers, but they're doing it anyway. They're happy doing it anyway. And
yeah.
I think I was happy playing basketball at the best level I could, and you just have to make sure that when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it at any given time. But you also got to be prepared for the way that sometimes opportunities take a considerable amount of time, and they might not happen when you think you're ready for it. They might happen at a later stage. And I think as a young man, I went over, I was 19.
Yeah.
My patience wasn't in line with the mindset I'm at now, where not good things come to those that wait, but just a little bit more patience would have really probably would have helped the younger version of myself.
Yeah. Would you say your experience going through that kind of helped your maturity?
I think you mentioned it before. I was a bit egotistical as a younger man. I was a bit egotistical. I don't mind saying that in the moment. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything but time that can speed up maturity. Yeah. Obviously, people go through their own obstacles, but I think fairly logical dude. At any given stage, I would have made the right choices that I thought at the time on checks and balances. I would have weighted it up, but I think the only thing that was going to mature me. I'm not saying I'm a grown man yet. I'm still pretty immature. I'm 30 with a mind of probably needs to develop a little bit more. But I appreciate that, and I recognise that I got a pretty good grasp of where I'm at the moment. And I don't know if the challenges that I met at college matured me faster, but they definitely helped me since then. They really have. I really appreciate my time over there, and I really appreciate the learning experiences I got. I probably could have got them here. I could have got them, but I wouldn't have traded the thing.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting. I know off the court too, because it's a lot different, I find, because you're in a totally different culture. You're away from your family, your friends. How did that affect you being a young man far away from home?
I think I've got a pretty close-knit family. I think we're Irish Catholic and Croatian, so we're a big old family, the Mullans. To the point that we all live pretty close now to this day, which is it didn't help my rap career, that's for sure. I have a pretty great family, so not many people want to listen to a middle class white guy rap career. Or at least they didn't back then. Now you never know. Social media things might have changed. Man, I found it really tough. I really did. On both ends of the spectrum, I remember having moments that I really enjoyed over there that I wanted to share, and I did share. We had Skype back then; it wasn't Zoom.
Yeah,
Skype. I did share it with that, and moments of celebration, and then also just moments of, like you said, growing, and it was really tough. Like I feel like when the thing I love about sports is no one knows if they're going to make it. No one knows if they're going to be successful. And like I said, the opportunity does come. You really just have to, but you have to throw yourself into it. Physically, mentally, your legs will hurt more than they've hurt before. Emotionally, you'll take the wins and the losses with it, and you have to try and maintain a focus on academics and not be affected by it. And socially, you're in this camaraderie with those bonds that you make with other people in your team from when you're early morning sprints, late night travel back on the bus. You really you feel like you're not in the trenches. Well, if I can use that metaphor, I hope I'm not offending any of our service members that have served. But you're in the trenches, and you do form quite a significant bond with these people.
Yeah.
And I remember being away from home. I'm such a great family network back here. I do remember finding it quite tough, but I think, my parents probably understood quite well, and they supported me through the whole thing. And very, very fortunate. It made I do, especially this time of year. I think, I'm not sure when this podcast is being released, but I've got December 18, so Christmas time's a big time in our family. Get everyone around. We're that type of weird ass family that dances around the Christmas tree. I remember being acutely aware of training on Christmas Day, and I remember missing out on Christmases, and like I said, I wouldn't have changed it. But it's the realities that you have to go, and you only got a small window and a small period of time to chase that dream, and it's pretty hard to live that dream without it. So I was aware of it, and I feel like I noticed it. But your good friends and your good family, I'm very fortunate to say that everyone's kind of stuck around and hasn't got sick of me just yet.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I know me personally, when I first came out to the States, everyone thought I was an alien because, I spoke differently, dressed differently, acted different to everyone. How was your experience like that?
I had a couple of funny ones. I tend to be a little bit bohemian in my dress sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like Philly didn't really adapt to that as quick as I would have liked. I used to wear, now we're Californians out there, but we didn't have any Californians on our team, so I remember one time I went out and everyone in Philly is like baggy tees, baggy shirts, backwards hats. This is back in, hopefully, I'm not offending any people from Philly, but this is 2009 when I went over there, and that was quite akin with the fashion. And
Yeah.
I rocked up and I had a vest and skinny jeans on. Vest was never a great idea, but I'd just been to Splendor in the Grass in 2009, and some of my favourite musicians were wearing like, t-shirts and with vests over the top. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll give it a crack. So I wore it out, and you just got to kind of embrace it when you're over there. There's another couple of words that don't translate quite well. I remember I got hit in the side of the leg at training, and I just got belted, and I got belted again, and I kind of limped off, and then my coach was like, "You're all right?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Mate, I'm just sorry, I just got a massive cork," and that just stopped training, and I had no idea why it had stopped training. I was like, "What?" And he was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I just got a massive cork in my leg, and I was like rubbing my leg.
Yeah.
They call a cork a Charlie horse.
Yeah, Charlie horse. Yeah.
So they weren't hearing the word cork. They thought my accent was describing something different in the general vicinity. And like I said, a 6'6" skinny white kid sitting there telling that everyone's got a massive cork was funnily enough for everyone to stop and have a crack. I think I got tripped up another couple of times. I can't remember right now, but there was a couple of language barrier things that I think also in the way there's some really fundamental discrepancies between America and Australia. I think they're quite apparent right now, especially with COVID and politics, actually. I think politics would be a good one just to show the polarisation between what we consider appropriate in Australia and what Americans consider. And because we speak English and we're quite familiar with all the Hollywood and the movies, and we have the same music, and people often are like, "Oh, you're American," and you're expected. There's some things that really didn't sit well with me. Small bouts of racism and political correctness for me were unbelievably confronting in America. But people just like, "Oh, Sean's okay with it." And I was like, "Well," and it took a couple of learning curves to just have the gumption to stand up and be like, "Look, I'm not okay with it. It's like, this isn't a part of where I'm from. This isn't." And I remember that being, I think quite easily if you we blend in quite well with the language, and we blend in quite well with the topical conversation that people sometimes forget that we're a little bit weird down here. We do things a little bit differently, and Australia's not without its quirks. We have a nice little adaptation to tall poppy syndrome. I think that's a big one as well. In Australia, you'd be very hard pressed if a guy walked out on the court and just said, quite explicitly said, "I'm the best player here. F everyone else. This is, screw you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you." If that happened at a game of any importance, if someone walked out and was like, in Australia, we go, "That's the bad guy." We're quite easy. We have baddies and goodies. That's the bad guy. The guy walks out. Whereas in New York, there'd be 4 people saying that stuff. They are the man. Just ask them. Wow, you can't. In Australia, you can't say I'm the best. You can't say I'm the best. You got to hold on. You got to give full credit to the boys. The boys, full credit to the boys. You doesn't take. I don't want to be a betting man, but if I was, I reckon that the next game of rugby league or AFL post game interview, I think there'll be full credit to the boys, and I think the boys, worked hard. And the boys, are like, well, we have a nice little, which is good, mateship, camaraderie, a lot of Australian ethics that really kind of suit us well over there, because I think we do have a great adaptability to team sports, which I think basketball is one of the best of, in my not so shy opinion. I think, as far as, what about you? Did you find any language barriers that you want to?
Yeah, I have a funny story. I was talking to one of my teammates, and I gave him like $4. I was like, "Yeah, do you mind giving me some chips?" And as in French fries, but they say French fries and chips. So he brought me back a packet of chips, and I was really confused. But little stuff like that, I find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Little stuff. Yeah. I remember there's one that I can't remember right now, but I just remember being caught up on a couple of things. But yeah, maybe something we'll put it in the comments later. I'll write it down.
Yeah.
put it in the podcast. Sean's retrospective memory.
Yeah, I remember there's one thing, but I can't remember it directly to my head. It was oh yeah, like heaps. Like I've heaps of that. Like you know how we say that?
Yeah. Heaps good.
Yeah.
Heaps
I said that, and my coach he's African American, and he was like, what do you say? And I was like, I said heaps. Like I have a heaps of that, and he was like, that's how slaves used to talk.
Yeah.
I was like, no, my bad. It's like, yeah, you sound like an old slave. Like that's how we used to talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We had, was that, and I think Carl Barron addressed it back in the day, but I didn't realise that we do. I just was growing up in Australia, I didn't really, but the way we say the negatives opposed to what something actually is, making an observation, you quite often infer the negative opposed to like a double negative opposed to positive. Like, you know, it's like, how good was that? It was, it's not bad. You know,
Yeah.
It's pretty hot. It's just not cold. You know.
Yeah.
But not bad. I also remember ending. I used to end emails or like text conversation with coaches during my recruiting process as like, cheers, thank you, cheers, thanks, cheers for that, cheers for that. And I remember one of the coaches that didn't know me was just like, he made me aware of the legal drinking age in America.
Yeah.
And he made me. I was like, I don't understand why he made me aware of it. It was so out of context, and he's like, just Sean, I just want to remind you of, you know, like it's 21. I was like, well, I knew that, but whatever. But he thought cheers, like he associated cheers with drinking.
Yeah.
And he thought that I was, you know, someone that could be susceptible to drinking. I was like, no, I wasn't that guy back in the day. But he's like, yeah, just so you know. Yeah. He's like, I was like, cheers, thanks for that. He's like, don't be saying that. I'm like, whatever.
I remember you telling me the story of you checking in, and we say subs please. You remember that story?
I was excited, and it was just like, hey Sean, get in. And I was like, all right. So I went over to the bench and I looked at the bench ladies, because there were a bunch of ladies sitting down with computers, and I asked them for subs. And I like put my hands in the cross mark, you know, just like subs. Every time you go on the street, you're like, hey, subs please. Right? And this lady's looked at me with blank stares on the bench. Like, all right, I'll just sit down. Like, I was like, whatever. And then I looked down at the bench, and like all the freshmen that were there, because they were like, I think I was the first freshman to get in. They were laughing, and then like another one of like our Zach Rosen, who was our captain at the time, he was wetting himself because he was from Israel, so he'd obviously like known the same thing, but it's not something that they address. They don't tell you the little rules about like, you don't have to, like, you just go sit on the next. So I went and subbed in, and that was the same game. I remember I passed the ball, and it wasn't a serious start. Like in my head, I was like focused and like, I'm the Tiger, and I was like super keen on the start. And I subbed in, and then the bench was laughing. I was like, whatever, that's one mistake. And then I went. It was against Penn State. And I subbed in, and I looked back at the student section, and it was the most people I'd ever seen at a basketball game. And I didn't mean to. And in my head, I was super fine with it. I looked up and I went, "Poor!" I gave it a little like the PWA, "Poor!" And then I got the ball and I made the play, and I think I did all right. And my coach, in the next time out, ripped on me. He thought it was like, and I was like, man, I didn't mean to make that reaction. I just had never seen. Like the student section was 15,000 people. Like the most people I'd ever seen or played against was at like national championships where everyone came to watch our finals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I remember, and it was all drowned out. It was pretty well coached into us. Like against big teams, we used to train with like it's not white noise, it was crowd noise on. Like it was pretty good. You know, it definitely helped you really desensitize yourself from the big crowds. But it's good though. Like I like big crowds. I always found myself a little bit more springy when the crowd was there. I didn't even care if they were away crowds either. I loved that silencer moment, you know, just like that, hitting that shot and just hearing, it was amazing.
Yeah, no,
not that I never hit a bunch of those shots, but when I did, it was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like too, like American basketball, they're a lot more, somewhat like passionate about the game. You know what I'm saying?
It's not really comparable. I don't know if they're passionate. I think we have a lot of great. We don't have the same institutions that they have over there, and it's also probably something to do with. I've always kind of justified it on population, man. Like,
Yeah.
back when I went there in 2009, right? And I remember the statistic that we were given before I went over. New York State, right? So not New York City. New York State is about the same surface area as Canberra, right? And then New York State had the same amount of people back then, 25 million,
Yeah.
as Australia. The entirety of, like, the state, and it was 50 something, back up, like, and you just kind of go, all right. And then say in Australia, say 10% of people play basketball. Say 10% of that take it seriously, right? So you're looking at 250,000 people,
Yeah.
right? And then you're looking at the percentage of that, and they have that many people in a state, and then it's in a state that you need to play indoor sports because it snows for 3 months a year. You're like, well, heck,
Yeah, that's
this is
true,
the pool that we're digging out of. And then there's a bunch of different institutionalized things, such as people that come up in athleticism in America and the different migration barriers of, like, what do they call it? Just like social demographics that come over there and their propensity to be athletic. You're like, oh crap, you mix those two together, and then it's everyone in high schools plays basketball.
Yeah.
In Australia, we have rugby league, we have AFL, like, big institutionalized, but we don't have. Imagine a kid. I mean, we don't have ghettos. That's one thing we don't have. But imagine a kid in the ghettos is just like, he's pretty good, right? And then he gets encouraged. And he's like, oh, by the way, you're good at basketball, and you can be a millionaire. Like, you can. What Giannis just signed his 5-year contract, $228 million.
Yeah.
There's no $228 million contract in Australian sports, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, there's no. I don't know. But, like, and you're telling kids that everyone's playing. It's like, oh, by the way, this is on your doorstep. You can watch this happen. You can watch that guy play this way. It's like, and you're good. And then the family gets around it, and people are playing not only for the joy of it. Some of those guys are playing for their livelihood, man. Like, it's amazing.
Not even that. I feel like the opportunity to get free schooling too.
Oh, education. Like, I mean, what no one remembers the 1998 classic game against Sydney Uni and University of Western Sydney or Griffith. No, but I bet you there's a sports analyst out there that can tell you about the Duke Carolina game.
Yeah,
there's a couple of people out there that live and breathe college, college football, college basketball. Like the NCAA institution is amazing. It's just kind of we don't have it here. We don't have it for a few reasons. Australia's so spread out.
Yeah,
it's so spread out, and the population isn't there. But so I do love America for that. I do love the opportunity that they gave in response to that, and the opportunity to play in front of those people. So it's not that we don't have passionate basketballers here. I think there are some amazing, especially in the next couple of years. I mean, next Olympics, we have to start NBA players on the bench.
Yeah,
that's fast.
I remember Jonah Bolden didn't even play for the last little qualifiers.
I mean, is that Green guy? Is Green? Is he playing for? Is he Australian?
Yeah. Josh Green's Australian. Yeah.
Josh Green, dude. Like, where does he fit into the starting lineup? Like,
yeah.
I haven't seen enough of him to tell. But you're looking at sitting who? Exum, number 1 draft pick. Yeah, you're going to start Paddy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going Paddy. Baines on the other end of that.
I think Jock Landale.
Thon, yeah, okay. Give Jock Landale, okay. We'll give him a Guernsey. But you're disregarding, like, Ben Simmons, Joe Ingles.
Yeah, Joe Ingles.
Matt Dellavedova. Ryan Brockhoff, who just signed another contract. Like,
yeah, that Matthew Tabis, whatever his name is, plays for the 76ers. He's a 6'6" wing defender.
Are we claiming him?
Yeah, he has a Australian citizenship.
I know he's got dual citizenship though. Like,
He said he might play for Australia.
I get that, and I do. I welcome him with open arms. We will be amazing, but we still haven't got a bronze, man. Australia still has not got a medal.
Yeah. Right now the rankings it's US, Spain, and we're third.
I mean, we still have to do it. Like, ranking's amazing, and I'm all about it. But I am very excited to see the Olympics. I think the Olympics. It's what I'm holding on to in the way that. Did you just hear that? Breakdancing was allowed in the Olympics.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
I'm look. No disrespect to the athletes that are breakdancers, but the Olympic Committee must just be in need of money. I'm not. An e-sport. Esports is in the Olympics now.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. Yeah.
And I wonder how they're going to do surfing. You know, like surfing is a sport in its own right, and it's great. But the surf changes day to day, and surf changes hour to hour. Like if it was in a surf pool and everyone got the same size wave, I think I'd be alright with it. I think I'd be more okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, the hoop's always the same size. But imagine if, like, you know, you're out there for the first 45 minutes, waves are pumping, and then, you know, a wind picks up or something dies down, and like you've been training for the 4 years or whatever everyone else has been training with, but you get hit with a weather anomaly, and you're sitting there and you do your very best on a worse wave, you just don't qualify. I mean, that'd be frustrating. But you know, that's the argument that they make, and but I don't know. Esports, I'm glad. Look, power to them. I'm not. You can tell that I'm not on the board. I'm not on the select.
Yeah.
But you know, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's more revenue, I suppose, for the Olympics.
Yeah, of course, and also it's COVID sensitive. You know, you could have an esports tournament today and not have to worry about social distancing. You know.
Yeah.
As long as you have good Wi-Fi in your mum's basement, you can compete.
Yeah. Looking at your journey away from the court, how would you say you capitalized off basketball? Like in terms of like connections you made, business opportunities.
I don't think I'm the poster boy for that story. I know some amazing people. I think Alex Beagley did really well. He's a guy that played development for the Hawks. He came in, got a job.
Yeah.
His law job straight off the bat. Through stuff like that. I went to a school called Wharton, which is the finance school. Me and Donald Trump went, and there's a lot of flyers that come out of that school that I have disconnected with. For me, I think the way that I've kind of capitalised of it is just habits.
Yeah.
I know that's probably a very glorified way to say that I've done my own thing, but basketball taught me a bunch. Taught me about sacrifice. It taught me about failure. I think that's a big one. I think being okay with a lot of people are very okay with staying in their comfort zone, staying in their bubble. And, because really throwing you can into something has a chance of failure. However, the things that I'm kind of proudest of my life are the things that I've had to just really throw caution to the wind and give it my all, and then make or miss. I get the result out of it that I'm kind of I deserved or happy with or kind of really proud of. Like and I think basketball kind of allowed me to do that. It showed me how to work. Maybe the biggest thing is it showed me how to work with so many different people. It gave me so many different opportunities and so many different people. But I remember at times in successful teams, I had to find a way to work with people that I respected, but I didn't like. That might sound horrible, and I think that would test this too. My personality is quite a big personality. But I'm quite focused in my way, and that clashes. I mean, being polarizing, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. You're not going to be their taste, but
definitely.
I think that I can cover the bases, and I can work with as long as we're going to the same goal, as long as we're heading in the same direction, and that's aligned with my moral and mental capacity can go that way, then I think basketball's kind of taught me how to work with anyone.
Yeah.
And enjoy that process. enjoy the process of, working your ass off. Enjoy the process of, not getting too high on victories and not getting too low on defeats, and seeing that a 60-point game doesn't come in one shot. It comes from a lot of little accomplishments.
Yeah.
Not that I ever dropped 60 in college. I just, as an analogy.
It's a real process. I find. What was that?
What would you take from your career so far?
I mean, I learned how to get a real work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Like I came in as one of the worst players in the program, and I worked my way up to now where I'm having some success off the court. As in, I'm having opportunities to visit colleges. I'm having scholarship opportunities, and that just comes from the process. Like every day you do something to get better every single day. Like all my efforts are going towards getting better. So like learning to deal with that type of wins and losses in a way, I feel like it just makes the journey like really enjoyable, because it's not a straight line. There's ups and downs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. I do. I agree. I think there's the seven habits of highly effective people. Great book. If you want to have a look at that, I think it's a great way to line yourself up with your major goal, and then just finding different ways to chip away at it, and making decisions accordingly.
Yeah, but
I can't remember who wrote that. It's a good book.
Yeah, but like in a way, I find the if you're not like built for it, it can definitely bring you backwards. You know what I'm saying? Because I find a lot of times you'll be on a real high, and like something can happen. Like God forbid, you get injured and you start again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the process.
I think redefining it. I think redefining yourself is part of being a human, man. I think thing I didn't realise as a younger man, or a boy, whatever. I don't think I'm a man yet. The thing I didn't realise is I always knew that basketball had an end date.
Yeah.
Basketball has an end date, and I never saw that. I remember, I looked at myself as indestructible, and I looked at my career was on its way up and up and up, and even the best players in the world have to retire. And I found after I changed my perspective on basketball and started working and started moving into my what I consider now my career. I remember having a big hole that I really wanted. I was missing out on the camaraderie. I was missing out on the day-to-day challenge of the whole thing. And I think the young guys need to be prepared from that. Need to be, I don't know if the way I did it, I cut it off cold turkey. I was like, look, this is me. And I come back and I was training for the Hawkies, and I remember in a discussion with Gordy McLeod at the time, just being like, look, this is, I'd like to, what are our options moving forward? And he was super accommodating and went on to ask me what I wanted. And it became, in a conversation with him, when I had both options available, I chose to step away from basketball. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And it seems like a pretty yes or no answer, but it wasn't. I no longer loved the process, like you're saying. I no longer loved the process, and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
Since then I put the, learn to do something new and redefine yourself. And I feel like in basketball you have the luxury of, like yourself, man, you're playing the 4-5 now, but in your journey you're not going to play the 4-5. You'll have to redefine. You'll change it up as well, but playing the 4-5 now isn't a bad thing. Stretch 4, stretch 5. If your skills are as best as they're ever going to be today, for the rest of your life, it's as best you're going to be, mate. In basketball, hang up the boots. If you're done getting better, hang them.
Yeah, for sure.
And getting better is hard work. If you're done with that, hang them up. That's not. I'm gonna tell you now, as a friend of yours, that's it's not good enough. If you're the best player you're ever going to be, mate, enjoy your game, shoot your shots, make some good friends, But if you want to go somewhere with basketball, you're going to have to be better than you are now. You're going to have to be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. And, and that should be an enjoyable process. Basketball's a game above all things.
Yeah.
Basketball is a game, and it's an amazing game. And
it is,
a beautiful game, but it's a game. It's a very fun game, and I was very fortunate to play it all over the world. And I play it now, and I've made some great friends, some lifelong friends out of basketball. I'll keep going with it, but I'm looking forward to next season for the mighty Illawarra Hawks.
Yeah, the ABA.
So how we go there. I think I got a couple of good games left in me after the knee surgery. I got a couple of good games left in me, and hopefully I can. The moons will be in line, and I can string something together. So
yeah,
see how we go with that.
I feel like your story kind of shows that you can be successful after you walk away from the game, as in like life after basketball. There's more than life after basketball.
Thanks, mate. I don't know. I'm not exactly successful yet. I will be successful.
Yeah.
You asked me in 5 years, and I probably still tell you I'm unsuccessful. I hope I still have that fire in my belly in 5 years to be like, all right, I'm not comfortable. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I'm going to do stuff after. I went back and did a degree after I went to college. After I travelled for a bit and I worked in advertising after college, and that was my life for a bit. And I got back, and after the hiatus from basketball, I just went and saw the world a bit and lived in London and travelled around. Worked in Germany, and then I got back and I was like, all right, I kind of want to dig my feet in the sand, and went and did a law degree and got that done, and then started working in Sutherland now, a little firm up there, and finished at PLT. But also I think I like law because it's a bit adversarial. You can, but it's also different ways to challenge yourself and different ways. Change it up. Like I said, redefining yourself is. I don't know if the average punter would define the way I live my life as successful, but I'm a happy dude. I'm a happy dude with good people around me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. Looking back at
also every now and then.
What was that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
No, you go. My fault.
No, I was saying
Mate, please. It's your show.
Yeah. Looking back at your whole journey on the court, would you have done anything differently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the court?
Yep.
Yeah, I would have. On the court, I think I told you about like tall poppy syndrome, and the way that in Australia we buy into the process a lot, and I think there was small moments in my career which called for maybe a little bit more selfishness. I feel that on the court, I don't know if I'm talented enough to be a guy that I don't know if I'm talented enough to be the guy that just like goes and takes over offensively. I need to do a lot of defensive work. Yeah. And I felt like the higher levels I played in, I was a great program player in the way that I ran the offense perfectly. I was always extremely well read on our game plan, extremely well read on our scouting report. And I'd like to think at all times I did what's best for the team.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm getting older and cynical, but there's probably a couple of moments where I was like, shit, I should have just said, fuck it. And when the lights were on, I always came to play. I like to think that I was always a big game player. I think my teammates will attest to that. I think in bigger games, I came out to play. But never a regret for a shot I've taken. Yeah. Not one regret for any shot I've ever taken. Maybe a regret for a couple that I didn't take.
No, I get you.
Couple I didn't take. I think. Would I have done anything different? No, across the board, no. It'd be little moments where I made the right play. But now I'm old. I'm like, fuck. It would have been cool if I shot that.
Yeah, no, I get you.
It would have been cool if I shot that, and that shit went in. Like, don't get me wrong. Selfish plays that don't come off, like that noise. Right, you make the right play, and I always consider myself someone that makes the right play. So I guess in the heat of the moment, I would probably do the same thing over again. But retrospectively, knowing the outcome that happened, shit, yeah, man, I would have fucking, he missed, why don't I fucking take it? I'll miss as well. You know, at least it's on my shoulders. People can get mad at me.
No, I get you. How about off the court? like, what was your work ethic off the court? Yeah, because here our our youth league program itself, like we only train one night a week. You know what I'm saying? And you go over there and it's totally different.
Totally. But once again, man, I never let the team you're playing for judge your goals. Like I said, you're playing the 5 now.
Yeah.
So your goal isn't to play the 5, and your goal isn't to play in high school or in college, or you know, if you I was like, hey, what are your NBA? Like if we were training, I was like, hey, what are your goals? What are you going towards?
Yeah. Right.
And then you say, I want to 20 this season. I'm like, all right, fuck it, just do layups, whatever. Like we'll get into the training. I was like, well, who gives a fuck about that? Like, it's a shit goal. But if you're like, oh, look, I want to play in the NBL. I want to get here. I want to do that. You know, this is where I got to be. All right, that's gravy. You know, we can work on that. But like over here, the work ethic. You know, saying that we only train one night a week. You know, it's fine. If you want to play youth league and you want to be a really good part of that team, train one night a week, man. And you will get better at youth league. You'll learn their system. You'll learn their program. You'll be able to see where you fit in that program. But if you aspire to play at youth league, then I say, hey, train one night a week. Your goal is where you want to go. You got to be like, hey, we only train one night a week. It's like, well, that's cool. I will train with them one night a week. However, I know if I want to be in the NBL, I'll be honest, man, that you and myself, we have the predicament of being not the tallest guy in the gym, not the most athletic guy in the gym. Athletic. No one's ever going to say, peak me wasn't athletic, but we're not going to be the most athletic guy in the gym. No one, Derek Smith Jr. and I, probably not a great comparison from my end. Not going to really enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
But, so you to be the athlete that you need to be, I'm going to tell you now, you need to shoot, I'm going to say 1,000 a day for your development period. Maybe when you're Ray Allen, you can get up, 3 hours. Forget that. Ray Allen was 3 hours before every game. He was there shooting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why he's the best in the world. Like maybe you don't have to do that, but in your development stage, you got to be doing 300 at breakfast and then have a shooting session in the afternoon, or forget it. Go all in and go get your 1,000 in the morning. Right? Yeah. However you can get the reps up, because you got to be doing that. And if youth league happen to train once a week, go to that training once a week. But also. Oh, and also, you think if youth league, if you don't go like, oh yeah, if you start shooting, a high clip from 3-point land, they're not going to be like, it's amazing, well done. If you start shooting at a juice clip, you get your shot off. Like, even if you're just nailing the open J, like they're going to find you, right? Yeah. And like maybe not the first time, maybe take but cream rises to the top, man. You get yourself around some players that know what they're doing. Maybe it's not going to be in youth league. Maybe. That appreciation won't come until you're in a squad that you have a good point guard that wants to get assists.
Yeah.
You have a good team that does anything but when the biscuits are on the table, when it's all said and done, people are going to find shooters. People are going to find those players. So the work ethic, whether it comes intrinsically or extrinsically, if you want to be the best player you can be, it needs to come.
Yeah.
It needs to come. So whether it comes within you or by someone whipping you, and I'll be honest, the ladder, it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
The ladder is not going to last forever. If you need someone whooping you, maybe you need to get a job for the sector. Maybe you need to go work in a corporate lifestyle where, you can pump papers for hours and have a manager that's, never jumped on a treadmill, like screaming down on you. But like, if you want to be your best athlete, you need to be better. You need to be working harder than the guy next to you.
That's facts, yeah.
You got to be working harder than the guy next to you. If they're more talented, that's amazing, right? And let's be honest, when it comes down, if someone is more talented than you, or if someone is a better basketballer than you, but you work harder, well, on the day, it doesn't mean even though you work harder, guess who gets the minutes? Guess who gets the buckets? It's the guy that's better.
Yeah.
Working harder only means that you will get better, right? You will get better to a point that you will be better than that person. But if that person's better than you for now, that's hoops, bro. Maybe they've got longer arms. Maybe they've got full ability. Maybe they're just their eyes. They're just a great shooter. They just got good feel, good touch, right?
Yeah.
Working hard and that given you need means that they won't be better than you for long, or maybe they won't be better than you for any given period of time. You will make that gap. You'll bridge that gap. You'll get better. But in order to be the best player you can be, you've got to be putting in the work. And if you saying that you only have one training a week is enough to deter you, it's ain't for you.
That's facts. Yeah. Yeah, well, I know me personally, like, having 5 a.m. workouts, all this stuff, like, I love that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like...
So, yeah, man, I'm glad you love it. I'm not a morning person, my man.
Yeah.
I used to go... in my favourite times to get shots up was 1 a.m.
Yeah. When no one's there.
My favourite time. When no one was there, just before bed. Instead of like before having a shower, like I could call our managers at college and be like, hey, set up the gym. I get everything done for the day. And this, by the way, this is off season, because in season you haven't got shit time. You ain't got nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
You got like I was barely getting 6 hours of sleep at night, freaking pan study. But but also it's great there because you always got a buddy to get shots up with you. You're scheduled to get shots up with a mate or with someone in your team. My favourite times when it was like off season and my time schedule was on me. Man, give me that late night. Give me a sleep in. I'm gonna sleep till 10, but like put up the shooting machine at 1 and I'll go in. Count sheep, baby. Count sheep. Just go in, see the ball go in a couple times. Those ball machines, the ones that shoot it back to you.
Yeah.
I love that. Couple headphones, music, and just like therapy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Feels good. Yeah. Late night workout.
Yeah, but if you love the morning, you can embrace that morning. Go for it. So good. Power to you, baby.
Yeah. Well, they're all the questions that I have. Oh yeah. Another thing I was going to ask. What was the biggest difference? What was the biggest difference between going from a D1 to a D2 program? Because I feel like a lot of people feel like it's D1 or bust.
Oh, real? Nah. Size.
Size.
Size. Athleticism is there. The talent that we had was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We had the most talented basketball player I ever did. He won't mind me saying this. He's working at a titty bar in Chicago now because the guy's I love him. The guy's a dropkick. He's the best human and the worst human all wrapped up into one.
Yeah.
But his name's Tim Traversa, and if you have time to Google him, he probably has a few highlights, and they're probably all from high school. But he played for Iowa and then came down, had a bit of he's from the rough side of the tracks, but he's unbelievably talented at the game of basketball. The game came super easy to him, and he was obnoxious. But I remember talking about this, and the biggest difference was size. Those dudes in Div 1, across the board, I remember just having like a couple of 7-footers that could really move in Div 1. I was fortunate enough to play against Duke. I had a broken hand, but I played against Duke in the days of I don't know if you remember John Shearer, Nolan Smith, and Carl Singler were the big three, but the big dudes were the Plumleys, Mason and Miles, and this guy called Zubek.
Yeah, Zubek, yeah.
I just remember the shot guy, like, shots would go up, and then after, no matter what, they get into the three. Even if the shot was, like, good, these dudes were so well trained, they'd hit the 3 rebounder spots and then jump.
Yeah.
Just jump like that. I remember that they'd run to the G man. They had the timing was amazing. They get it and they just jump. And even if the ball went in, great. But if the ball bobbled off anywhere near the rim, right, like off good touch, there was just one of those big dudes to just, playing above the rim.
Yeah.
It was terrifying, but it was great. It was very fun. It was good to, but yeah, man, like the big two programs, some of the coaches there, amazing. Like we had great coaching staff, and they're all. I think some of them moved to one, some moved to two, but the level of basketball in D2, and even the crowds you get, some of the crowds that you get. I remember we played. We were in West Georgia. We played. I can't remember the playoff down in Collins as well, and we were like sold out crowds in like this hometown gyms, and it was cool. It was cool basketball, man.
Yeah. It
was very fun to play. I met some amazing, talented athletes in D2, and coaches. I met some. They'll make you better. So yeah, for those kids going, Div 1 or bust. That's great, and have that mentality and shoot for the stars. But if your goal is past college, if your goal is to be the best basketball player you can be, and it's between an NBL program and a good D2 college. There's enough nuffy D2 colleges you got to watch out for. But if you get a good basketball D2 program, you wrap your hands around that and you get my stern advice: to get an education and get that level of institutionalized basketball around you. We just don't have it in Australia. I could look out my door and I could see the weight room, and I knew what weight. I was like, squat race open, let's go. And then after I was on that, I'd go straight to the physio room, and the physio would take care, and then I'd go straight to the, get some shots up, and it's all right there, and it's all great. The facilities we had at Nova Southeastern were better than Penn at the time. Like the facilities at the D2 school were better than the D1 school. The basketball gym was very different. The one at Penn was a classic, 1927 cathedral. Man, the thing looks like a church. It's called the Polstra. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Whereas the one at Nova, brand new, 9,000 seater stadium. It's called I can't remember the name of the stadium, but it was great. It was Mickey Mouse. Everything was like brand new. It was a D1 facility. If they do go D1, I won't be surprised, because it was one of the best facilities in D2 that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on the show.
No worries, bro. Anytime to talk hoops. I'll wait till you're out of quarantine and my knee's a bit better. We'll play some one-on-one moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Because I did say when I came back, I was gonna beat you.
Yeah, you said that. You said a lot of things. Like, you say a lot of things, which is great. I'm glad. Podcast, we can just say shit. But to all the listeners out there, the next time you beat me will be the first time you beat me. I hope you do. You won't. Right? I know you won't, but I hope you do. It would be gratifying for me to see you, to beat me, but you not anytime soon. Not that I don't want it to happen soon. It just won't happen.
I remember
maybe a couple more.
The first time I was talking trash to you, you said, I'll play you one-on-one right now. I remember I didn't score a single point on you.
Hey.
I remember...
you might score a single point now, but I still got me. I got me in straight sets. We play 3 games. I'm taking 3.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
I'm glad you don't. We'll see how we go.
All right. Sure. Like I said,
brother.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
No worries, man. Take care.
Yeah. Stay safe.
You too, man.
I'll catch you later.
Later.
And that concludes another episode of The Hoop Journey. Once again, big thanks to my friend Sean Mullan for taking time out of his day to come on the show. Big thanks to all the listeners out there. Until next time, stay safe. Bye-bye.